There is a moment most men walk right past without realizing what it meant. A woman smiles at you. Not a polite smile. Not a social obligation smile. Something softer. Something that lingers a half-second longer than it needed to. And most men, especially older men, dismiss it entirely. They tell themselves she was just being friendly. They tell themselves it was nothing. And in that quiet dismissal, something real gets buried. That is not humility. That is a habit. A deeply ingrained habit of emotional self-erasure that most men were never taught to question. The cost of that habit is invisible until suddenly it isn't. Until you are sitting across from someone you love and you realize you have no idea what you actually mean to them. Or worse, you stopped believing you mean anything at all. Here is what most men never realize. That smile had a cause, and the cause was you, but not the version of you that you have been criticizing. My name is Dr. Amelia Brooks. I am a relationship psychologist with over 20 years of clinical experience working with couples and emotionally disconnected men across the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia. The men who find their way to my work are rarely broken. They are quiet, careful. They have spent decades being competent and steady, and somewhere along the way, they began to wonder if steadiness was enough. I have heard that question more times than I can count, and I want to answer it properly today. You are not broken. You did not fail. You were simply never taught what emotional presence actually looks like, or what it does to the people around you. Today, I am going to show you what actually lives inside that smile, and why older men, specifically, carry something that younger men simply do not have yet. Before we go deeper, I need to lay one piece of foundation. Your nervous system and hers are in constant, wordless conversation, not through what you say. Through how you occupy a room, through the pace of your breath, through whether your shoulders carry tension or ease. The science calls it co-regulation. Women who have spent their lives reading emotional weather feel yours the moment you walk in. This is where it begins. The first thing I want you to understand is what I call the weight of earned stillness. Younger men carry urgency in their bodies. You can feel it. The need to prove, to impress, to fill silence. Older men, the ones who have lived through real things, loss, disappointment, decades of small daily choices, carry something different. A groundedness that does not need to announce itself. When you walk into a room and you are not trying to perform anything, that stillness is not absence. It is presence. Deep, unhurried presence. There is a psychological concept called secure base theory. When someone feels genuinely safe near you, when your energy says, "I am not going anywhere, I am simply here," their nervous system settles. They exhale. And that exhale often looks like a smile. Not because you did something impressive, because you simply were not a threat. In a world full of noise, that is extraordinary. This is your strength, not your limitation. The men who feel most invisible often have the deepest presence in the room. They have simply stopped believing anyone notices. I want to tell you about David, 61 years old, from Edinburgh, married 32 years. Somewhere around year 25, he stopped feeling like his wife actually saw him. He told me she used to smile at him differently, like she meant it. What David did not know was that his wife told me separately she smiled at him most when he was quiet, when he sat with their grandchildren and just watched them play, when he made coffee without being asked. He doesn't know, she said, that his calm is the thing that holds me together. David nearly left. He almost decided he had lost something that had, in truth, been right there all along. Here is what I want you to do. For the next 3 days, when you are with the people you love, slow your pace by 20%. Let a silence last 2 or 3 beats longer than feels comfortable. Watch what happens in their faces. The second thing is what I call the language of remembered detail. There is a particular kind of attention that older men develop, if they have been paying any attention at all, that is deeply rare. You remember the small things, the preference for a certain kind of tea, The name of a colleague who caused stress 3 months ago. You carry those details not because you were trying to, but because you actually listened. Most people have never been truly listened to. When someone realizes you remembered, something opens in them. That smile is recognition. It is the feeling of being seen, not evaluated, seen. When someone feels held in your attention, not monitored but genuinely held, their brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Your remembered detail is not a social trick. It is neurologically real. It creates trust at a biological level. Here's what I want you to do. Think of one small thing someone told you recently, something they would not expect you to remember. Bring it up, not as a performance, simply as evidence that you were listening. The third thing is the gift of unspoken permission. This is where it gets interesting. There is a quality that develops in men who have been through enough that is almost impossible to name but immediately recognizable. It is the quality of not needing you to be anything other than what you are. Younger men carry an unspoken pressure for the people around them to perform, to match their energy, to be more. Older men who have loved and lost and chosen to stay anyway carry a spaciousness, an invisible permission to rest. And women can feel that spaciousness. It is what makes someone relax their shoulders without knowing why. A man named Marcus, 64, from Toronto, had been divorced 9 years. He believed he was too set in his ways for anyone to want to be around for long. What he described, when I asked about the people in his life, was a pattern I have seen dozens of times. People came to him when they were overwhelmed. They sat in his kitchen. They left lighter. He thought he was just a good listener. What he was, actually, was one of the few people in their lives who placed no emotional demand on them in return. I never thought of it as something I was giving, he said. I thought I was just sitting there. Here is what I want you to do. The next time someone you care about seems tense, do not fix it. Do not ask a series of questions. Simply be near them. Make tea. Sit down. Let the silence be generous. The fourth thing is the credibility of scars. When a man of a certain age carries his history without bitterness, when he speaks of difficulty with calm recognition rather than blame, something happens in the listener. They trust him, not because he is perfect, because he has been through something real and did not let it harden him all the way through. Most men carry their scars as evidence of failure. They are actually evidence of survival. Vulnerability research on long-term attachment consistently shows that perceived emotional honesty creates deeper bonding than perceived strength. Not weakness, honesty. The difference is everything. I worked with a man named Robert, 58, from Chicago. He had spent 15 years being what he called a wall. In one quiet session, he mentioned that he had cried alone in his car the day his father died. He had never told anyone. His wife reached across and held his hand. She told me later it was the first time in years she had felt close to him. All she had needed was one real moment, one crack in the wall, not collapse, just honest. Here is what I want you to do. Think of one real moment of difficulty you have never told someone you love. You do not have to share all of it. Offer one sentence of truth. Watch the distance close. The fifth thing, the one most men miss entirely. I call it the return. There is something quietly powerful about a man who comes back, who says, without grand gesture, without performance, I am still here. Younger men often move through the world in search of the next thing. Older men who have chosen, again and again, to show up for the ordinary Tuesday, the difficult conversation, the quiet evening that holds no excitement, are communicating something that goes far below words. They are saying, you are not a phase. I chose this. I choose it again. And that, felt in the body, not heard by the ear, is what makes someone look at you across a room and smile in a way they could not entirely explain. A woman named Helen, 63, from Bristol, told me she fell back in love with her husband on a Wednesday morning. Nothing special happened. He brought her a cup of tea the way he had every morning for decades. He set it down on her side of the bed. He did not make it a moment. It simply was a moment. "I looked at him," she said, "and I thought, this man has been choosing me every single morning for 38 years. She smiled at him in a way she had not in years. He had no idea why. He thought she was just in a good mood. He was the reason. He had always been the reason. He simply did not know it yet. Here is what I want you to do. Think of one ordinary thing you do for someone you love. Do not stop doing it. Do not make it bigger. Simply do it tomorrow. And notice quietly that you have been choosing them the entire time. And this is where it connects back to what we started with. That smile, the one you walked past, the one you explained away. It was not random. It was not politeness. It was recognition. She felt something near you, your stillness, your memory, your permission, your honesty, your return, and her face responded before her mind could compose a reason. That smile was her nervous system saying, "I feel safe, I feel seen, I feel held," and you, standing there in your quiet way, had no idea you were doing any of it. "You were never invisible," she told him finally. "I was just waiting for you to believe that yourself." That wasn't manipulation. That wasn't a performance. That was simply a man being fully, honestly, consistently present, and a woman responding to what she had always felt but rarely seen named. Maybe she was more connected to you than you realized. Maybe your calmness has been holding things together all along. Research from UCLA has consistently found that long-term relational satisfaction is far more strongly linked to emotional consistency and perceived safety than to excitement or novelty. Your ordinary is not ordinary to them. Tonight, try one small thing. When you are near someone you love, do nothing extra. Simply be there, fully, without any agenda to be more than what you are. And if she smiles at you, let yourself believe, just for a moment, that you were the reason. What moment in your own life do you now see differently? Leave it in the comments. I read every single one. And in my next video, I will talk about what happens emotionally when a man stops needing to be understood and simply starts choosing to understand. It changes everything. Take care of each other. I mean that. Dr. Amelia Brooks.